welcome to the Hitchhikers blog, the Black Heroes universe. And basically, I just thought that it was time to do an update. Even though the last time I was here, I went all the way back to the beginning of the Marvel DC comic book universe. And I wanted to kind of look over time. When did ethnic diversity reach the comic books? When did they start having characters that represented well, in my case, black characters, and also how come that started so late? So when we actually looked through the timeline, and even though I found this undiscovered gem of this character named the Red Mask, I still couldn't find any actual books on him. But he was around in the pulp age. And actually, that's speculation about whether he was black or not. I think he was supposed to be Caribbean. And the way he was drawn was always in shadows. But, it wasn't until the 70s when it really became prevalent that, hey, we really need to get onto this ethnic diversity train and start adding some black heroes. And I also did a separate blog on Paul Levitt's reluctance to add a black-skinned hero to the Legion of Superheroes, which I thought was pretty funny because, blue people, green people, they were aliens, it was the future, shouldn't it all be about love. And reluctantly, they finally created the character Tyrock. And, and I was telling somebody the other day about how, so all of a sudden, you ask yourself, we're all the black people, and they're all on an island somewhere called Marzel, which is like Brigadoon, they only appears every 50 years, like Kung Lun, with Iron Fist. And it was just kind of interesting with that. But I thought that we only kind of went into the major period of the 70s where we actually got the birth of the black hero. So, there's also that debate about Black Panther, Falcon, which one first. And when you say a quick question of who's the first black superhero, even though Black Panther was indeed first, some would argue that he was an African superhero. Not even an African American, but an African superhero. So, when my blog covers all of that stuff instead of going over old territory. But I kind of stopped it there, I think. Meaning I went into the 70s, with Black Lightning and all of that. But it wasn't until actually later that someone, I believe it was Mike Howlett, someone said that when was the first black female superhero? And Marvel, we know that we have Storm. So Storm was the first. It was Marvel's idea of ethnic diversity, which we're going to be talking about on this podcast. And then it was I didn't realize, whoa, so Vixen was actually came out in the 70s as a black supermodel. Supposedly just kind of like an African American supermodel, but now in the updated version of Vixen, she's an African. And everything, and which probably she always was. So, what I was looking at is that comics have kind of made a dip now. We're in the, millennial now. So we're now in 2016. And so we're talking about a good 40 years later, where are comics now when it comes to ethnic diversity? And we also have to probably expand that a little bit. Not just black heroes, but, when I started to, put all of these things together, I was like, Asian. Asian meaning Chinese, Korean, Japanese. But we also have Muslim heroes now. We also have heroes from other countries. We only... In the 80s, we only had contests of champions, but now we got Russian heroes, French heroes. So I just thought that looking at ethnic diversity now in the millennials would be a good blog. What Marvel did was last year they came up with this all new, all different. And I remember the announcement, as probably most of you remember, is that it was kind of like, okay, we're going to be all new, all different. It's going to be Marvel now. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a black Captain America, we're going to have a female Thor, and we're going to have an Asian Ms. Marvel. And all of a sudden, everybody's head started to explode. What? Because, speaking of, I mean, I'm a black American, so of Native American descent, by the way, but I also didn't ask for this. I did. I mean, so on the one hand, is I do like to see myself represented, but then again, is that I thought this was like a marketing ploy. It was like Marvel saying, "Yeah, we could just totally flip the script and do this whole gender blending scenario," and then a lot of people else started to jump on the board bandwagon. Another one of your viewers, Hubert Hustler. Yes, I will mention you, Hubert. Was trying to tell me, he sent me think about they first of all they did a gender blend on an Archie issue, as well as that's what it was. They introduced a gay character. I was gonna say Archie was gay, but no, they introduced a gay character in the Archie comics. So this blog will be about looking at the last 40 years and mainly focusing on the now and looking at where we are now on planet Earth in 2016 with Marvel's idea of ethnic diversity, as well as DC jumping in the bandwagon here and there. So let's get started. We're going to talk about the all new, all different. We have to look at where we were first. So, like, if we go back to the 70s, like I said, when we were starting to get black-skinned heroes. We had Tyrock in Legion of Superheroes. We had Black Panther and Falcon. And as I said before, Falcon started out as a pimp. Can't believe that one. And that's also where he's going to end up now. And then, we had Black Racer from the New Gods. So, actually, a black-skinned god. Which is interesting. But that character was pretty silent, never really did much, I don't think. At least it has an indelible memory on me. So what they had to do was and in the 90s, they had to retcon. They had to go back and actually kind of pepper in black heroes in the past. Hey, we just never had an issue around these guys, but we dropped them in, kind of like Amazing Man in the Justice Society, But so in the 70s, we got the all new, all different X-Men. Now, so Marvel, which was very, in forefront at the time, Dave Cockrum, I believe it was, decided to, X-Men was a dead book. So what happened is that they were doing reprints and they were doing solo issues. Mainly Beast was successful in Amazing Adventures with Hellcat. And they decided, look, man, let's give that team book another try. I mean, if we were going to create this whole idea of mutants, which, interestingly enough, someone pointed out recently that Marvel or Stan Lee had a spy in the DC camp, and they were taking the page out of the book of the Doom Patrol. And the Doom Patrol were called freaks, who had mutant powers and kind of thing. And they had a leader who was in a wheelchair, Professor Calder. So all of a sudden, bingo bango, we get the X-Men. But as far as originality was concerned, they decided to create the all new, all different X-Men. And this means that they wanted to have, if you're born a mutant, then you could be born a mutant anywhere. So they decided to, say, okay, we got mutants all over the world. So we got Colossus, the Russian. We got Sunfire, the Japanese mutant. We got Banshee, the Irish mutant. And he actually started as a bad guy. But then, when it came to the gender, I'm going to say gender blended, but female heroes as well as ethnic diversity, we got Storm, as I just mentioned. But also we have Thunderbird, Like I said, being of Native American descent was interesting. So Thunderbird, was new. I mean, wait a minute, we got an Indian hero. Now, you got to remember about Marvel, they actually was prolific in Western books right before this time. So there was a lot of cowboy heroes. And we had Lone Ranger and Tonto stuff on television. But, there was not a lot of Indian, Native American heroes. And if they had them, what's that guy's name? It wasn't like Pocahontas Jones or something like that. That would be stupid. But Hiawatha Jones, that was in the cartoon, Spider-Man and Amazing Friends. But they didn't wear masks. So Thunderbird actually wore a mask. He had a really cool outfit. He was, extremely athletic. He was kind of like the Captain America version of an Indian hero because he had reflexes, enhanced reflexes and skills, physical skills. But they killed him off in the second issue. He's introduced and then they blow him up. What the hell is that all about? We get all excited about this new character, and all of a sudden he's killed to give us some kind of emotional impact. Yeah, it's kind of like wearing a red shirt, and he had red in his outfit. Oh man, but he did leave an indelible mark in those two issues. He was angry. He was he represented kind of like the angry black man. Because it wasn't like, hey, let's have two black people, right? We already have a black woman who's going to be sexy because we're going to give her long, white, flowing hair. But we'll give you an Indian, dark skin, brown skin, red skin, whatever you want to call it, and he'll be the angry Indian. I'm the angry Indian, but he'll die a heroic death. So that's kind of like the beginning of, coming in there in the all new, all different. We're coming into the 70s, and then, alright, so Marvel does the all new, all different. So what happens is that DC says, well, we got to do something. Now, they don't do something just as yet in the comics, but what they're doing is television. So Filmation, they got the Super Friends. So the Super Friends is a successful show. And, and what happened is that in the comics, they decided to create Black Lightning, right? So we heard that story about the writer who said that the television team wanted Black Lightning in the Super Friends, and for some reason, some legal skaboo, he wasn't going for it, and so they had to create Black Vulcan, who was really kind of like Electro, really, but because he was like Electro. And but it was interesting to get this picture here of ethnic diversity in DC in the 70s, where they show you, and I didn't take this on board right away because I was a kid who would. So back to the Indian hero of Thunderbird, who was successful. They give us Apache Chief, Black Vulcan, Samurai, the Asian elemental superhero, who was kind of like Sunfire maybe, but used a lot of wind and turned invisible a lot, and El Dorado, who could teleport. So in that fashion, that was their answer to the all new, all different ethnic diversity in the DC universe. But 3 of these characters weren't in the comic books. Now, what we get today is if we have a movie or a TV version of heroes, there's usually a comic book to coincide with it. And, we never really got that. But because of its profound place in the beginning of ethnic diversity, we get a lot in the cartoons. We get cartoon versions of these 4 members of the Super Friends. Either as kids in what was that, Young Justice? Yeah, in Young Justice. Or we get in Brave and the Bold, Justice League Unlimited. We had gotten various different incarnations of these 4 Super Friends from the 70s. So it's always a nod, but we never get the actual characters, characters like Superman and Batman who've been around for years. We never get a comic book version of Apache Chief. We don't know his backstory or anything like that. So that's kind of wild and crazy. So anyway, So that's the beginning of the only different. So as we move forward, into the present, what we had was the '90s. So in there, what we had was Dwayne McDuffie and his team creating the Milestone universe. So what happened was is that McDuffie was really powerful as far as creating the cartoons and all that kind of stuff. And they say, "Yeah, what do you want to do?" And it's like, I want to create a whole universe of black heroes and everything. I mean, I'm looking for something for where I can look at them. These are like my heroes. Now, so then we get Hardware, Static, Blood Syndicate, and what it was this a bomb like a Big Bang Theory in Detroit, and it blows up and it gives everybody the mutagen, and all of a sudden heroes just pop up out of nowhere, and everything. But there was some originality in some of these heroes, like the Blood Syndicate and everything. But there was also the retread of like, let me just ethnicize, let me just make a black version of the heroes we know. So to begin with, we got Icon, who is pretty much the Black Superman. Big black brother, and then Icon was supposed to be iconic. It never felt iconic to me, but I mean, it was kind of a nice outfit. But I still felt like you're just trying to give me Superman, What was most interesting about Icon was, it's like, he looked like Superman, but he had a sidekick like Batman. So he had this female sidekick named Rocket. And what was really interesting to me about Rocket was that she was not only a badass, she had this belt, that was like, gave her this like force field and everything, but she also got pregnant. And she was kind of like, really like the first teen pregnant superhero in the universe, anywhere, Marvel or DC. And, they tried to deal with that. I mean, I think they tried to do things like trying to hide the pregnancy and all that kind of stuff, but I can't remember actually who the dad was. Right? A little close to the bone, that. But, I mean, I just thought that was really interesting, I mean, they were trying to make a hero that young women could look up to, okay, this happened, but I mean, I'm going to be dealing with it, and this was her trials and tribulations, but it also kind of further put Icon in the background, because I think Icon was created, in a way where he was so alienated to me, I couldn't relate to him. And then there was Hardware, who was like the Black Iron Man. Wasn't interested in that at all. And I really did like the Blood Syndicate, who were kind of like an Avengers, X-Men, type of team. But the breakout star was Static. Now, Static is pretty interesting. I'm going to put up a pretty series of pictures. I mean, he first starts out, with the first look, he looking like Spike Lee here, where he's kind of got the X on his hat, he's wearing all black and everything, power to the teen and all that. And so I don't think they expected him that he was going to become the poster boy for the Milestone universe, but he did. And to become the poster boy for the Milestone universe, when the Milestone universe collided, first it collided with the DC universe, they tried to merge the two. But pretty much, Milestone didn't last, is what I'm trying to say. The public wasn't having it. So, we had to figure out a way of making Static survive. And watch out, this is gonna come back now, right? So, Milestone is like DC, because they try to collide with the DC universe. So, Static, they try to up his look. So, at one point, they gave him the big yellow coat, like Jubilee, right? When we talk about the Asians, and gave him a big yellow coat because they figured, hey, don't just have the black suit, man. It looks too violent. You can't see him in the dark. What's going on? So he got the yellow suit. He had a cap. That was the beginning. It was like as most kids do. He was kind of like one of the only who just wore a cap on his head. even though he still had a full face mask. And he had electromagnetism powers. And he rode on, at one point it was a manhole, another point it was a garbage can lid. You know what I mean? But he rode on it like Silver Surfer and everything. But then, so TV Universe got a hold of this and they say, okay, let's Disneyfy Static. And instead of like Static, yo man, don't give me no static, right? They changed it to Static Shock. And so our young Virgil Hawkins went to TV. And again, let's brighten up the costume. So forget about the all black, but we'll give him a black coat, like a trench coat. You know, put the big white vest on, white mask. And all of a sudden, it's now looking like Black Lightning. Who's making these decisions, right? So now Static Shock looks like Black Lightning. And then they say, well, we have to still have him represent ethnic diversity. So instead of having the full face mask like he was doing, right, he had the dreads. And they said, let's showcase the dreads. Instead of, as Virgil, we see him in dreads, and then he had the mask on so he could hide the fact that, hey, that's Virgil, because I recognize the hairstyle. They said, let's show off the hairstyle as a superhero, so that way people could see that. And what was funny about that is that when that happened, they also, it was one of the retcons of Black Lightning, and Black Lightning came out with a miniseries where he had the big dreads. So all of a sudden, dreads became a thing to represent blackness and everything. But they did this in a cartoon, and as well as bringing Static into the DC universe, especially in the New 52 universe. They brought that look. So, I mean, Static, he went through a lot of changes, a lot of different confusion writers, and he had no main identity that we can relate to and stuff. And I believe Static is still around, Static Shock, in the New 52 or in this new Convergence, who knows? I really don't care. I never really liked Static, to be honest with you. Didn't relate to me. So that was the Milestone. Milestone kind of like came and went, and he was like the last remnants of it. I mean, I remember they tried to bring elements of the Blood Syndicate into the DC universe for a second time after Worlds Collide, but that never took, and that was really embarrassing. That's one of those things where, okay, for now, then we're gonna have all these new heroes, and then I think mainly it's because Superman and Icon, even though when you put the two together, they just didn't look right. I mean, they were too powerful, and I don't think it worked. I don't think anybody else thought it did. So when we look at the Justice League, and we look at ethnic diversity and gender blendings and everything like that, we get Superman was always going through the changes and stuff, and it wasn't until the Earth 2 series that came out where they decided that, like, you know what, man, let's just go for it and then make Superman black. Well, how are we going to do that, man? I don't know. How are we going to do that? So then what they did was they had the Futures End series where Batman, the Trinity, get killed by saving the world from apocalypse and everything. And it turns out that it's revealed that Earth 2 was supposedly destroyed in the Convergence and then came back as Earth 2 Society. I believe Val-Zod is still the Black Superman. I know nothing about the story and everything like that. I mean, comics have taken a nosedive for me at that point. Batman. So, Batman decides that, as Bruce Wayne, he's going to incorporate Batman, and he can't police the world, but he can make it possible for there to be Batman of the world, because like they had that whole retcon where they had all these other different Batman pulp heroes and stuff like that, so you had the Indian Batman and Batman Incorporated. There was no black Batman until the present, where they had this African cop take on the role of Batwing. So it was kind of like Iron Man Batman, right? And which was interesting, it was good to actually go to Africa as a point of, getting a hero and everything like that. And then for some reason he leaves Africa and then just patrols in New York or Gotham or whatever it is. And so that's Batwing. Now, they used him at one point to try to introduce a team of team of African heroes. Forgot what their name was. That didn't, of course, that didn't last. So what they did is that they just brought him over here, and he was Batwing. He became part of the Bat family. But what happened is there's a new DVD out, Batman Bad Blood, and that was really cool. And what happened was that they decided that, okay, well, we're gonna have the lesbian Batgirl and the black Batman, but instead of him being an African, you know what I mean? That's kind of we're talking about DC, on DVD. Why can't he be related to the Bat family? How can we do that? Yeah, that black guy, Lucius Fox. How about he has a son who was in Africa? Well, not really Africa, Afghanistan. That's right. He has a son who's back from Afghanistan, and he's angry black man. And then he wants vengeance because his father gets hurt by our Damien Harold guy, and he steals the suit. All of a sudden, he knows how it works, right? Without dad explaining it to him, he automatically, because he's like that. He automatically knows how it works, and he becomes Batwing, and he's able to save the day. I love that cartoon. Just hated that idea of just getting rid of everything you created in the creation of Batwing to amalgamate him into simplicity. By all of a sudden making him the lost son of Lucius Fox. And for Lucius to not be like this, my lost son, to forget my 50 years of continuity, this is my son. So yeah, that was crazy. Let's see, Aquaman. So Aquaman was interesting. So Aquaman, who's already an alien and everything like that, who already led the Justice League Detroit. Remember that? Again, ethnic diversity in the 80s. He leads a new team of water-based heroes called the Others. Now, what was cool about this is I'm trying to like the Others. I'm trying to read them and everything like that. I think they're really cool, But he has at least 3 black team members on there, and that's like one too many. Too many sometimes, There's always just only one black guy like Cyborg in the corner, But he has, 3. He has the soldier, who, as the spirit of his comrades and everything like that. Prisoner of War, that's his name. I was trying to find out. He does have chains and everything. And then you got Yawari, who is a jaguar. And she, now some will probably say, is she black? Well, she's drawn black, she's in the jungle and everything like that, but I guess it depends on the artist. She's really sexy though, and then you have the black Asian girl who could travel through the soul spirit world and stuff like that. So, Aquaman and the Others, so that's his bid on ethnic diversity. Now, we also have the fact that, we talked about Black Manta when we talked about black villains, and we talked about the fact that Black Manta, was only revealed once that he was black. And for some reason, that this came out in the cartoon, in the Young Justice, when they created that, they decided to create a black Aqualad, and he was the son of Black Manta, so he was a good son of Black Manta. But then, Young Justice season 2 made it like, oh, see, he was evil all the time, working with his dad. What's that? But now there's a season 3, so I gotta get that. So Aqualad, water-based powers, really rather cool. retcons his history and all that kind of stuff. All right, so moving on swiftly. So just Green Arrow. So you got Green Arrow, and Green Arrow, Ollie was always, getting it on with everybody. So he had a black son named Connor Hawk, and that was kind of cool. I just didn't like the fact that they needed to give Connor blonde hair. Also, depending on who draws him, it's like, is he actually a black son? Sometimes it's like it looks like he's Vietnamese, like if he was the son's shadow, and I mean, I just think they were kind of confused with kind of hard, but he's definitely supposed to be a black son of Green Arrow. And then, Green Lantern. So Green Lantern was in the forefront back in the 70s when they created John Stewart. You know what I mean? So it's like, and John Stewart is legend now. It's like when you think about who's your favorite Green Lantern, a lot of people go to John Stewart, especially with the cartoons. The cartoons really, with Dwayne McDuffie, they really made that character very strong and prominent, even stronger sometimes than Hal Jordan. But what they did with this whole gender blending scenario in the present day in the millennials is that they created a new female Green Lantern in Jessica Cruz, Spanish black. And why do they always have to tie blacks and Spanish together? Like, it's like, yeah, you're half black, half Hispanic, as if like we could take half of you being black. This is really irritating to me. I mean, you're either Spanish or you're Spanish. You're either black and you're black. I mean, you could go to Spanish Harlem, but that doesn't mean you're blended. It's like it makes it seem like they'll draw them with black skin, but they'll give them Spanish names as if that's going to be more palatable to the public, and that really irritates the hell out of me. But what I really like about her is that her powers are fear-based, like Parallax. And everything like that. And she's still around, and that's really cool. So that's like pretty much members of Justice League. Wonder Woman never did the black thing. Never had with the black man, never had the black Amazon, which is kind of strange. Especially when they keep doing the whole immortal thing with her. One would think there would be some kind. I'm pretty sure she had the black sidekicks at some point. But, or a black friend, you know what I mean? But, she's Wonder Woman. So, that's the Justice League. Let's go over to, before we go over to the Marvel Universe, let's deal with the Atom, right? So, Ray Palmer, man, he's got a really raw deal. I mean, like, first they turned him into a kid. Took his powers and put him into the jungle like he was Warlord and everything with the sword of the Atom, and they were like, I don't know, this guy just shrinks. We don't know what to do with him. How many times can he go into the microverse? And they just really kind of gave up on him. And so to the point where they decided to bring us a new Atom and do the whole ethnic diversity. And they gave us Ryan Choi. Now, Ryan Choi was really kind of interesting, he got the belt, and he was a student of Ray Palmer's and stuff like that, and his run was somewhat cool, but then they decided to kill him mercilessly with Deathstroke, shoving a major sword up his gut. I don't know. That was a bit severe. That's like saying there's no coming back from this one. Ryan Choi is gone. You will not see Ryan Choi again. And then they said, well, instead of bringing Atom back, let's female gender blend the Atom, and they give us Rhonda Pineda, Atomica. Now, what's really interesting about Atomica is that, like, again, another student at Ivy University, as if it's the only place where they have microparticles. And she's running around as the female Atom, and then turns out into this big triple spy, working for Amanda Waller and the Suicide Squad, spying on the Justice League. And turns out that she's actually from Earth 3. It's pretty cool. And she's also the homegirl, home slice, Bonnie and Clyde with Johnny Quick. And so she turns into a real badass, it's like, whoa, who saw that coming? That was pretty interesting. But then she again had a merciless death, where Lex Luthor stomps on her. What's the point? Is Ray Palmer back? He is on the TV show of Arrow, but I mean, I haven't really seen much of the Atom in the DC universe at present. So I'm pretty sure he's due for a return. But as we all could complain about the Atom really being Tony Stark in an Iron Man suit, with the mentality of a Boy Scout, I like him. It's Brandon Routh. Okay, moving over to Marvel. So before I go to the Avengers, I want to go to the Black Spider-Man, Miles Morales, because when I was talking about Static, I was saying, watch out for this, right? So Miles Morales is in the Ultimate Universe, where Peter Parker dies, and he takes over. I think his uncle is the Prowler, a black villain, which is cool, and who steals some genetic spiders and everything, and he get bitten by one. So we're back to 13-year-old Spider-Man, and I didn't want to get into this because I'm not going down this road, and I kind of ignored the Ultimate Comics, and I think I had to go back to it. I saw it when he would team up with Spider-Man and everything, the big event books like that, and the Ultimates went through a whole big thing, and he's got Venom powers and all that, and it's crazy, but I'm liking him now that he's in the whole new Marvel now. I mean, and in the Avengers. I think they really worked well with his character. And what I want to say about Miles is that, actually Miles had the Captain America shield before the Civil War trailer came out. So it's kind of like, it was really cool and iconic. But that's because they knew they had the forthright, and they said, all right, it's about time for that trailer to be released, that movie to come out. So we're going to have this issue where Miles Morales is going to save the Avengers by having Cap's shield and stuff. So that's really awesome and cool. I kind of like his character. I like what he's going through as a teenager in high school, but I will say, the movie universe, which gave us two, a protracted trilogy, but let's just say gave us two Spider-Man trilogies. When they were going to do this third one, everybody was saying, what, forget Peter Parker, we know who he is, he's done, right, as a kid, and why don't you just give us Miles Morales? And, they didn't, and everything, so it was just kind of messed up. So eventually, hopefully, we'll get Miles Morales, but I don't know if I'll be alive at that point, but, that's what that is. So anyway, so that's the Black Spider-Man. So now looking at the Avengers, this is where everything culminates with them all new, all different. We got the Black Captain America. So finally, they age up Steve Rogers and everything like that, but he's still heroic, and everything. And he decides to pass on the torch. And instead of passing it on to Bucky, the Winter Soldier, who was disappeared through original sin, they decide to give it to Falcon. So he's going to still be the Falcon with the wings, but they're just going to give him the shield, and he'll be Sam Wilson, Captain America. And, so I'm thinking, I'm not going to buy into this, man. Again, I'm not going to buy into this. But I couldn't help but, sneak peeks into the stories and pick up, the Catwolf and all that kind of stuff. He's going up against the Serpent Society, which is a team of bad guys who are black, which is cool. But also is that the writers are starting to put commentary in their comics. They're starting to, speak on what is real, because we're in the phone generation of characters and everything. So they're throwing in these comments about, hey man, he's black, is that good? Yeah, I could have a hero to look up to and all that. And there was this one issue where I think it was with these Girl Scouts and stuff, and somebody asked him for a $5, right? I don't know. Somebody asked for money for something. Hey, you gonna pay for that? And he didn't have any money because even though he got those pouches, he didn't have any money. And he turns to Tony Stark and he goes, "Yo, man, you're a billionaire, man. You got a $5?" And Tony's like, "I ain't got no money. Everything's all digital." And but they had made a big issue about this for a couple of pages, and I was kind of wondering what is that all about? And he even speculated, what's that all about? And so speaking on that, in the recent issue of the Avengers, The one where I said that Miles Morales saves the Avengers from Blackheart. He's in a full bodysuit, so nobody knows his skin color. And in that fashion is that in this fight with Blackheart, his shirt gets ripped, and you can see, his skin. And very subtly, they tried to, no, I think Falcon tried to hide it and stuff, but some girl caught it on her phone, and she did a blog. This is really cool. Like, this is all in comic. And so she's like, I can't believe it. The new Spider-Man's black. Oh my God, this is excellent. And he actually goes, yo, what's the problem? Now, this is where it gets stupid. His dad's black. His mother's Spanish. Cool, man. Interracial. I'm all about interracial love. But they make the argument be like, yeah, but I'm only half black. I'm, half black and Spanish. So it's like I don't want to be the post boy for black heroes and stuff. It's like, and I mean, what's the commentary? It's kind of, but on the one hand, it made me read the book. It made me say, you're covering something that I understand, and I'm actually reading this and I'm enjoying it. And so I started to think, wait, this all new, all different is really not all bad. And matter of fact, speaking of that brings me to Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan, because, again, voided it. I'm not interested. Now, Kamala is cute, she's funny, but I can't stand her powers. I mean, the way it's drawn is like with the big fist and everything. It's like she got elongated man's powers, and I just think it's weird and wacky, So calling her Ms. Marvel has nothing to do with her having cosmic powers. It's just like she's such a big fan of the heroes and everything, and she takes on that name, and it's better than Stretch Girl or Elastic Girl or something like that. I really get that. But now that she's in the Avengers, I'm loving her. She's really cool. I mean, I love the little teen romance going on with her and Nova. And now that Spider-Man's in it, and I love the whole, we got a really good ethnic blend of diversity. And it's making the Avengers interesting, because they're standing all iconic in the background going, no, don't do this, don't do. And it's really cool. What I reflected upon was, they did this like about in the 90s when they brought in, what's his name, Vance Astro and Firestar, into the Avengers, what do you call himself, Freeman or something like that. But so this is the same thing. It's kind of like retreading those old stories, but it's really cool because it's ethnic diversity this time that they're doing it, and I think it's really interesting and cool. So that's what the all new, all different. Oh yeah. So here's the big one. So Thor and the Black Captain America, I'm gonna call him Black Captain America, kiss. And what? It's like, what are you trying to say? It's kind of trying to say that Captain America and Thor always wanted to kiss, or now we finally can get them to kiss. It's like that picture that they had a couple of months, last year, let me just say, where Batman and Superman kissed. It wasn't in the story, but it was like on a blog or something like that online. So it was like, what? But what I'm loving about Thor, and I didn't want to buy into it because I bought into the Red Hulk mystery where they make you buy a year of books and who is the Red Hulk. So they just did the same thing with who is Thor, and everything. They lead you, is it this person, is that person? And Jane Foster's got cancer and she's all, in those last stages. But she had the power to Thor. So it was kind of like, oh my God. So she could be a big powerful superhero and then go back and she got to go on dialysis. And what was great in that issue where she kisses Captain America is like, she's like, look, man, I got this banging body, you're this banging man, and I'm just going for it, you know what I mean? And what was really cool was like, so Iron Man's like, yo, dude, so what's up with that? He's like, I don't know, I have to find out what's up with that. I love that relationship, that between them. It reminds me of the movies and stuff. And so anyway, he rescues her, they battle Kang, and he takes her back to her, she gets back to her dialysis appointment, and he shows up, and she's like, oh, what are you doing here? Is everybody else here? He's like, no, I didn't tell anybody. I just thought me and you ought to talk about that kiss. She's like, oh, really? You know what I mean? So It was kind of cute, kind of cool. I don't know where that's going to go, but that was cool. Now, let me just say, Steve Rogers is coming back. So we're in the Avengers standoff, and where the government, Marlon Hill, and everybody has kidnapped all these villains, and they're doing this whole rehabilitation project and stuff. And Steve Rogers is going to return at the end of it. So I saw the new cover poster, Steve Rogers, Captain America, and he's going to have the original badge or shield, the pointed shield. Sam Wilson's still Captain America in the background, but he's in the background. And who didn't think he looked like Battlestar? I did. What's up? What's up, man? What's up? So you big up this guy for a year, close to 2 years now, as the Captain America, and you knew this wasn't going to last. You knew it wasn't going to last. They tried to make old Steve Rogers a hero and people to be interested. They didn't know whether to make him frail or big, depends on who drew him and stuff. And it was just like, man, just give me my Captain America back. So that's going on with that. Now, so what's off limits, right? If they could do all of this gender blending and ethnic, mixing, what's off limits? Just when you thought that it would be off limits, we get the Korean Hulk. Amadeus Cho gets the power. And now I love Amadeus Cho. I don't think you needed to change him into the Hulk. It's kind of like when you change Rick Jones into the Hulk, Rick Jones disappears because who cares about APOC, right? But like Amadeus Cho with the big cowlick and overbite. I mean, how far is insulting? I tried to I pick up the first issue, but then I said I'm not gonna get into this. I mean, because then they had something where he loses his shorts, and it's like, come on, man. This is very juvenile and stuff. I mean, Amadeus was already a great character. You didn't have to do this totally awesome Hulk. I wasn't going for that. So now that I mentioned Amadeus, the Korean Hulk, we gotta quickly hit the Asian characters because it's not all about just being black. So we got now they love their little Miss Kitty, characters. I mean, who doesn't, right? So we had Jubilee, who also had the yellow coat like Static, yeah, the Robin coat. We have the Collective, man. He's been around for ages. To keep updating him, the guy who multiplies and stuff. The 5 nations. We have Jesus Christ, I thought we had a couple more there. Well, I think it's because we talked about Ms. Marvel already. We talked about Ryan Choi. And everything. We talked about them already. And, Baz, the Muslim Green Lantern. What a horrible idea this was. What was horrible about it was the fact that his first issue, he's pointing a gun at the camera and he's breaking out. He was driving a van that turns out that had a bomb in it, and he was like a suicide bomber. I mean, oh my God. Buzz came and went. I mean, I think he's still in Green Lantern and stuff like that. They force fed him into the Justice League. But it was a whole bad idea. That was a bad idea. Night Runner from the Batman Incorporated. They called him like the French Batman because he was Batman of Paris. He was parkour and all that kind of stuff. But then they decided, well, since people like him, right? Backup stories. Let's give him something. So they decided to make him Muslim. So it's kind of like they tapped it onto him, like a piece of clothing that you could put onto him. Let's see, we got. Wait a minute. We can't talk about the whole ethnic mixing or changing, blending, without talking about Nick Fury. Now, this guy here is my Nick Fury. Howling Commando, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., even David Hasselhoff playing him as Nick Fury was like more realistic than Sam Jackson. I mean, Sam Jackson is proven to be, I wouldn't call, Sam Jackson is kind of like Will Smith, several years ago when he was Mr. 4th of July, it's like you put Sam Jackson in a movie, he's going to guarantee an audience, and Sam was like using his power because he's in his 60s, 70s now. Well, yeah, he's definitely in his 70s, I think. But he's using his power to be able to say, "Let me have everything." So he did it with George Lucas when he said, "Put me into the Star Wars movies," with Mace Windu, which was a terrible character. Well, let's Nick Fury. We have the ethnic mixing of Nick Fury. We got the original Howling Commando and everything. That's my Nick Fury. Even David Hasselhoff is my Nick Fury in that. And then we got, Sam Jackson, taking over the role in the Ultimates universe. And what they decided to do was it was an after credit sequence. It was a one-off, that they decided to say, "Hey, Sam Jackson, let's do that." And then that movie skyrockets, and the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe skyrockets. And now this son of Nick Fury, called Nick Fury Jr., is now in the Marvel Universe. And then they had to get rid of the original Nick Fury with Original Sin, and it was just all bad. So also back into the Asian, there was Nico Minoru from The Runaways. That's what I was looking for when I was looking for those characters. So I guess it's gone long because my thing turned off a couple times. So we got Latin heroes, Miss America Chavez, awesome. We got. Alright, so lastly, let me just say with the last thing, which was the major push, was I think that Adam Brashear, the Blue Marvel, is Reed Richards. I think that when we look at the new Ultimate Avengers, with their opening splash pages, he's just Reed Richards. He's got the white sideburns and everything. And I thought, what is going on now that the Fantastic Four is gone? Adam Brashear is replacing him. Adam Brashear is one of those retcon characters like the Sentry, where they retrograded him back into the past, and he actually was a hero in the 60s. Full body suit. The Blue Marvel, power of a god like Superman. And what happened was the suit gets ripped and people recognize that he's black. Same thing what I was saying about Miles Morales. So the president tells him, "Look, dude, I love you to death, man, but we can't have a black hero, so you got to disappear." So he disappears in another universe, the outside, and he's back. And so they bring him back, and he's now part of the Ultimates. He was part of the Mighty Avengers, which was pretty much the Black Avengers, where Luke Cage was the leader, and everything like that. Also, speaking of that, we got to talk about Photon real quickly. The original black female Captain Marvel character who they didn't know what to do with a photon stream, with a target tangent. She got great powers, but no backstory, no character. They just tried to make her this super smart black woman. She's leading or co-leading the Ultimates now with Adam Brashear, as she did with Mighty Avengers when she co-led with Luke Cage. And there's no faith in the character. Monica Rambeau is a really ultimate power god, but they don't know what to do with her. It's like Wonder Woman, It's like, what do we do with this girl? I don't have a clue, Oh yeah, and that's where you see that there's many faces of Eve. Yeah, it's like mad complicated. Lastly, the Muslim heroes. I should mention the 99, which was a comic that we didn't get much over here, where they had these a team of looking like X-Men type characters.